Carrie.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So I wanted to kind of, if it's all right with you, recap a little bit about our last session.
Okay.
And we'll just go from there. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Perfect. So I recall from last session that you had gotten a bit emotional. You're bringing me up to speed with some of the current events in your life. Where you had gotten into an altercation with your significant other and DCFS was called. Can you tell me where we're at with that?
Right now, we're the significant other and I are still together. We're doing couples counseling and therapy. We're trying to go in the right direction, but I feel like I want it more than he does. So that's been a problem. DCFS is still involved in my life. They come every 2 weeks, so sad to say, but they have more important things to do, is the way he worded it. I'm not the biggest concern, but I need to get reevaluated for that and see if I did substance abuse classes for that, since I was drinking the night of the incident. And I'm actually really frustrated with it because I already did all that and he didn't care months ago, and now I have to go get reevaluated. So it's kind of weird.
So let me clarify. You did all of the addictions classes?
I got evaluated. He wanted me to see if I needed classes, and they said I was like the lowest. They just wanted me to do like a women's support group of DCFS, but I'm a full-time teacher, so my hours didn't align because the classes are during the day. And so with my job, I haven't been able to figure it out yet, and he pushed it to the side like it wasn't a big deal, and now out of nowhere he wants me to do it again to close the case. So he is talking about closing the case, so there's a lot of good. I've been doing everything I need to do, and
Good. It sounds like things are kind of on an even keel right now.
Yep.
And so the last thing that you will need to do is complete these classes, and then the case will be closed.
Yes.
And you can put it in your rear view.
Yeah.
Do you think, how do you think that you can benefit from those classes, if at all? Or is it just a means to an end to get the case closed for you?
Both. I know I can benefit. I've been through substance abuse classes before, so I know there's more for me to learn. I want to learn as much as I can, but it's just so time consuming. I'm just kind of over it. I know I have the tools and I know what to do. It's just a means of doing it. So I think I am ready to get him out of my life, for sure, but the classes I know I can benefit from to get more, hopefully, healthy coping mechanisms and stuff like that, because I know that I don't know everything. I might feel like I do, but there's always more to learn. So
that sounds admirable to me. That you feel like you should always remain teachable and that there's still more to learn. And the implementation sounds like the harder part for you, the actually implementing those skills. So perhaps a refresher will be a good thing where you can learn how to use those skills and cope better in your life.
Yeah.
And you can be done with them. So you said that you've been have been drunk since the incident?
I did relapse in January, and I actually got a DUI.
Okay.
So I put myself in another terrible position. DCFS doesn't know about it as far as I'm concerned, since it's different jurisdictions.
Okay.
So that would I got evaluated for the DUI and have to do 75 hours of an outpatient treatment for that. So I almost thought about telling him the truth, because I didn't put a child in danger when I was drinking. I didn't have a kid with me or anything, but at the same time I don't know how that would help me, so I'm kind of on fence with that.
So
it's a lot.
Yes, it sounds like a lot. So what are some of the positives, or the upside, if you were to be honest in that situation and tell them?
I would feel better. I feel like I am deceiving and doing something wrong, and I think it would get me probably off the hook of the other classes. I probably wouldn't have to get reevaluated, so I'm going to have to be evaluated for 2 different things and 2 separate classes, and that's more time and more money. And so there's a lot of plus sides of it. I think I'm just scared if somehow it backfired on me, and the biggest scariest thing is to lose my child. I'm not a bad mom. I'm an addict, or I'm dealing with substance abuse. So it's really a mental thing. So I'm a great mom when I'm sober.
So
I would never endanger my child.
So it sounds like you
I'm scared.
are, yes, the fear is winning out there, but some of the benefits, if you were to be honest, and it's how the DCFS worker, is that you would feel good about yourself, that you were being transparent, and you could get a twofer for the classes and only have to do them one time.
Yeah.
So with your schedule, that might work a little bit better. It sounds like the fear is winning out so far that you haven't.
I'm terrified to tell him the truth, I think, because if for some reason he would say, oh, well, I don't know what he would say. And then the fact that I told him, well, I don't have a car right now, but I didn't tell him the truth, and I could have. But he's a really understanding guy. I think I do have a lawyer, so I think I need to ask my lawyer about that.
It sounds like a good idea to see what do you presume or anticipate may happen if they were to find out from someone other than you.
Yeah.
How do you think that would go?
It's been almost 4 months. So I've been sober since January 27th. So 3 months.
So you think maybe they would have already found out?
I think so, but again, it's different. Like as I was explained, it was different jurisdictions, so
Okay.
they kind of don't have anything to do with each other, I guess.
Okay, I'm not. I
have
I'm
no
not sure
idea.
how that works.
Me
so I'm
either.
not sure if they would be able to compare notes there. Or what are you looking at? Any possible ramifications for the DUI legally? Like, is that over with? Other than once you do these classes?
Yes, once I complete the classes, luckily I have a great lawyer, and I don't have court supervision, I won't have probation. I just need to complete these classes. I'll have my license back hopefully on next Monday. So things are getting better, but everything's just scary. I put myself in a really bad position.
It sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just trying to do the best I can and stay positive, but I do get discouraged a lot.
How are you staying sober throughout all of these stressful situations that you're in right now?
My son, I look at him and he's my motivation to stay sober. I also have a sponsor, so I have somebody I can call anytime that I do want to use or drink. Okay. So she's been helpful. She has 30 years clean, so she got sober around 30. So that's admirable because sometimes I don't feel like I could be sober, but my main goal is 10 years from now to take my son out to lunch and say I'm 10 years clean today, I'm 10 years sober. So that's something in the long run that I want to achieve. And I think that's pushing me because I'd rather stay sober than keep restarting. I've tried to get sober for over 10 years now.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a completely realistic goal, something that you could do. Are you struggling with anything else right now other than those two legal issues?
Just some relationship problems. I don't feel very much support from my son's dad. Okay. Since I, in the law's eyes or DCFS eyes, I'm the bad guy. There's a lot of things that they don't know about, so I think I'm like resentful with him, and I'm angry with him because I feel like he doesn't care, and that if DCFS is in our life and he can't do better, then what can you do better for? Plus, he has 2 other children that I'm very responsible for. I feel like he does help, but not as much as I feel like he should.
Okay, and you mentioned at the beginning of the session that you had begun counseling with him.
Yes, so it's a family counselor that DCFS actually pays for. So they have nothing really to do with each other, is the way that my caseworker explained to me. So he's met with us each separately. He's met with us together, and he's met with the 2 teenagers together. They're 15 and 14. And then he even took them to Starbucks for coffee last week, and then we had a session after that with just us 2. So I think his goal is to keep doing that, and he asked what our problems were, and I told him communication and resentment. So I think that's what we're going to be working on shortly.
Okay, so it sounds like it's at the beginning of working with him, so you haven't really gotten deep into those issues yet.
Right. I've only met with him 3 times, and I've been open to therapy and counseling since I was a teenager, but my significant other thinks it's weird, and he feels uncomfortable, and he doesn't like telling his emotions to me, let alone a stranger.
Sure.
So it's a lot, but also these services cost so much money that for us not to try or give it a shot, because we don't need to, it's not mandatory.
Okay.
But there's a chance if we do it that maybe we can work on our problems, so I still have that ounce of hope that my family could work out. So.
Yeah, well, last time we were speaking, he was not open to doing counseling, so it almost sounds like this most recent events, have kind of maybe been a catalyst for you guys him to be a little bit more open to that and give you a glimmer of hope here. And you sound like you're optimistic about at least getting over that hump, even though it might be a challenge.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for him he had a one-on-one session, a couple of them just with this guy, and I could tell that he talked a lot about his childhood trauma with him when he told me about it. I wasn't the main focus of what he was talking to the guy about. So I think he has a lot of stuff that he's never discussed that I think it would be really good for him. So yeah, I do have a lot of hope for him still. I believe in people, and it's hard for me to give up on people. So
sure, yeah, especially when that's the father of your child, and your imagined future together, feels like it may be at jeopardy. This sounds like it could be a good thing, and try to get some of those communication and resentment issues worked out.
And then another thing I'm worried about is if we did break up, what would happen with DCFS? What would happen with all this stuff? Technically, since there is a case open that the 2 children I'm taking care of, that I've been in their life 9 years, but they're not biologically mine. I have no rights. I'm not technically a guardian. My 14-year-old actually asked me to adopt her. So it's a lot. So these kids are a big part of my life. So I think that's another reason I'm scared, because I don't know what would happen to them, where they would live, because we're living at my grandmother's house.
Okay.
So I think that's another part. It's just scary. Everything is scary.
Yes, it sounds like you're
the
dealing
unknown.
with a lot of pressures right now, and a lot of factors that you feel maybe a little bit powerless.
Yeah,
about.
that's a good word for it, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. When those fears and anxieties kind of build up in you, what are you doing to cope with them? I know you said your son is a motivation for you to not pick up and use, essentially, but what are you doing to deal with some of those feelings?
I started journaling again. Mm-hmm. I like to do art with my son, so I just try to bring him, well, now that's getting nicer, I've been bringing him to parks a little bit, and I got a lot of art stuff, so I feel like that's a good way for me to express myself. I love art. And then there's something called a Wreck-It journal.
What was that word?
A Wreck-It journal.
Wreck-It journal. Okay.
So my daughter and I each have one, and each page says something different, like destroy this page with markers, or cut this page up, or each page is something different. So that's been a really cool tool that I found.
So it's literally wrecking.
Yeah, you wreck each page of the journal. And that's also something, a way for me and the teenager to bond. It's pretty cool, and she's going through a lot too with everything. So I've affected a lot of people through my choices. So I feel still really a lot of shame and guilt for sure.
To me, you are taking accountability for those things, though, which is a huge step, and takes a lot of courage to do that. And you're in the right place to work on it.
Thanks for saying that, because I think I'm so angry with the dad because he's not taking accountability. And you can't learn from anything if you don't take accountability for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For you to understand that is insightful and mature, and it's a big step. It's a big step. And we're going to pivot a little bit. That you spoke last time about smoking. Weed, excuse me.
Yeah.
Where are we with that?
With my full-time job, especially as a teacher, I obviously am not smoking during the day at all.
Okay.
I've been having a hard time sleeping, so I've been smoking before I go to bed.
Okay.
It's always been a huge part of like who I am almost.
Mm-hmm.
The people I'm around myself, all marijuana smokers.
Okay.
I love Bob Marley. I just almost like it feels weird to think of me being sober off of weed, but I'm thinking with these other outpatient treatment classes that I'm gonna quit and see what it feels like to be completely sober. I'm on the fence about it because it's, like I said, it just feels like that's kind of who I am almost.
Sure.
And I don't want to say it's like my identity fully, but for like even a friend of the old, like of my past, if I said I stopped smoking, they'd kind of, huh? So I don't know why I care what other people think, but I am curious to see what it feels like to be completely sober. I notice I'm getting more energy from not drinking, and since I'm not on benzos anymore or anything like that, I've seen a lot of positive things. I've lost some weight, I think, from not drinking, or maybe just working a lot. I am thinking about, I've already slowed down a lot, so I'm not smoking much.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about quitting. I mean, I'm going to have a clean drop to complete my classes. I have to do 75 hours of DUI service for my DUI.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit scared almost too, because that is a coping. It might not be healthy at all, but it helps in my eyes. And I've had therapists and counselors and doctors say, do you think that smoking is giving you anxiety? And oh no, I don't think that, but it very well could. I don't know that for sure. I always thought it was helping me, but it might not be.
Okay, so if I've gotten this right, it sounds like you are feeling a little bit ambivalent about, or as you put it, on the fence about stopping smoking because you feel like it's part of who you are, and maybe a bit of your identity, and maybe you're a little bit scared when you aren't smoking that there is a hole there a little bit, or that you won't quite know who you are, or...
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not sure. I've smoked for 15 years, so...
Okay. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
You also have said that it's been 10 years since you've been completely sober, so you're probably going to be figuring out who you are just period, whether it's the absence of alcohol or the absence of smoking weed. You're going to be relearning who you are. Mm-hmm. And that the fear of the unknown is a little bit scary, sure, but it also seems pretty exciting.
Yeah, I am deep down, because if I feel better about myself and get more energy and save money, that's something that I never thought was a big deal, but it does add up. It adds up eventually, and I could be using that for my future. I want to eventually have a house for my son. I want to give him his own room and a fence, and I can't do that if I'm putting money into stupid things. So
that is a good motivator as well. Can you remember a time that you were not smoking?
Yeah.
Tell me about that time.
I was young. I was probably 15, and I was in a lot of sports, and I was really healthy and happy, and thought I was overweight back then, and just really self-conscious and stuff like that. And then I think I had more motivation for sure. I was less lazy. I mean, I was also a child. My brain was still developing, and I started, who knows what that really did to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember too much times of me not smoking besides being a child.
So sounds like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You do feel like you were more motivated without it and healthier. And the sports, could have played a part in that as well. What do you think about learning some new coping skills, or even returning to some of the things that worked in the past? Like, starting exercising again. I know you have a pretty busy schedule right now and a lot of stressors happening and a lot of big things going on. So that might be, a lot to undertake at this point in time, but to start to develop a plan or to learn those skills. What do you think about that idea?
The exercise part, I would love to. I'm tired every day, and I'm losing all this weight, but I'm not toned, so I don't feel as healthy as I know I could be. I just know it takes a lot to start doing it, and my body's sore, and I am lazy, I think, because I'm working all day and I'm tired. So in the back of my mind, I know once I exercise for a few weeks, my body will want to, and I'll have all those endorphins, but just the getting started part. So yeah, I'm definitely open to that. I mean, I have a gym at my house and I still don't go, so.
And chasing the little kids around all day can wear you out.
Yeah, it is tiring.
Well, you mentioned that you are having a hard time falling asleep without smoking.
Yeah.
And haven't been doing it during the day since you're working.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it look like for you when you get off work? Do you go home and smoke immediately? What does it look like?
No, I get off work, I relax and clean up a little bit, usually get my son dinner ready, and then we have a pretty good scheduled dinner, and then we play a little bit, and then usually a bath every night or every other night, and because he gets really dirty at school. And then after I give him his bath, I usually put the TV on for a little bit and let him watch 15, 20 minutes of TV, and then we read books. So when I have the TV on, I sneak outside, and when he's occupied after he's all taken care of, and wind down after that.
Okay, so that's your wind down time as well.
Yeah.
So, and then you're able to sleep better with it.
Yeah, I wake up a lot during the night. I probably wake up 20 times a night, tossing and turning, and probably more than that, switching side to side. I just am restless, and I don't have to get up till 6:30, 6:45 every day, and at around 5:30 I wake up to go to the bathroom, and I have a really hard time falling back asleep. If I do, I maybe doze off, but my anxiety gets really bad. By the time I lay down for sleep, my mind races, and then when I wake up and I only have a little bit before work, same thing.
Okay. Have you noticed a change from cutting down for not going all day and just smoking at night and kind of doing a little bit of lessening the amount that you smoke? Have you noticed a change in your anxiety?
I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit. I think I might have a little bit less anxiety.
From smoking less?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Interesting. You said something else that was interesting to me too, that you weren't sure if when you were smoking, when you were a teenager and your brain was still developing, if that caused the anxiety or if it helped the anxiety. Like, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's something that struck me as pretty intuitive, because it could very well be that it's exacerbating the anxiety rather than lessening, like you feel, even though it's your wind down time and you're relaxing a bit. It could very well be exacerbating the issues. So I think that's smart to try to address that. You've got an awfully lot. Excuse me, I've lost my voice. I'm trying not to stick through here, but it sounds like you've got an awful lot going on right now, and are dealing with it very well, as far as not, picking up and going to counseling with your significant other and really trying to confront that challenge head on, and using your son as a motivation. It can absolutely help, and it is helping, but you feel like you benefit from some coping skills and trying to learn to deal with all of the craziness of DCFS and the DUI and those the fear of the unknown that are associated with those. So without the absence of not only alcohol now, but even considering cutting back or stopping smoking weed altogether, can you just kind of summarize what we've talked about so far? Can you envision a future where you aren't using anything at all?
I can.
What does that look like to you?
Happy. I'm proud of myself right now for how far I've came. I can only imagine how I'd feel if I was completely sober. And I know it's all mental, because like I said, the identity thing, I think it almost feels weird when I don't smoke, and it's in the back of my mind, and then I'll smoke and think I don't want it. I'm like, oh, I don't need it. But it's like if I have it there, I smoke less too.
Okay.
But if I don't have it, I almost obsess or think about it a lot.
Interesting.
So people say you can't get addicted to marijuana. That's not true.
You believe you're addicted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I go days without it, but I'll think about it. It's constantly.
Okay.
So it's not like a physical thing. I don't get sick or anything like that, but it's more mental. I think it's a mental addiction.
Sure.
Not saying it doesn't affect your body, but
Sure.
it's in your head a lot, for sure.
Perhaps in those moments where you feel like you're obsessing, what do you think about maybe trying to replace some of those thoughts with your Reckitt journal? Is that what it's called? And doing some journaling.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And trying to maybe take your mind off of those obsessive, thoughts that compel you to then go smoke.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate you sharing and being so open with me today, and we will touch base next session.
Thank you.
Okay.